What are the odds? What are the odds? Purim, more than any other festival, is the one where the impossible becomes possible, and you almost expect the unexpected. That's what it means to be a Jew, and that's what Purim is all about. A few examples just from last night. We know that last night, Barcelona had one of the greatest upsets in all of sporting history, certainly in soccer, many say, to come from 4-0 down in the first leg against Paris Saint Germain, needing at some point to score 6 goals in a game. 3 minutes before the end of the irregular time, they were 3-1 up. They needed to score 3 goals. At that point, you could have got odds of 200 to 1. And a few minutes later, the impossible became possible, and Barcelona are in the quarterfinals. But the truth is, we see that not only in this game, in so many elements of life. If we go with soccer, football once again, Leicester City. For Leicester City, which won the English Premiership last year, the odds you would have got at the beginning of the league was to win so many, over 40 games, right? Around 40 games, 30 or 40 games, right? The odds you would have got were 5,000 to 1, and they won. Closer to politics, Donald Trump. A friend of mine said to me that when Donald Trump began to run for the Republican Party, and there were those 12 or 16 candidates in the beginning, you could have got 500 to 1, odds of 500 to 1 that Donald Trump would win the Republican candidacy, let alone the President of the United States. It seems that in so many elements of life, you can put the greatest thinkers, experts in their field to predict what will be, and yet the predictions come out to naught. One further example before I end with Purim, and that is in the Israeli army. I heard an amazing talk where a leading thinker in the IDF was saying they no longer look at predictive models. You can't actually predict what's going to be in the Middle East. You have to work on alternative models. You have to present scenario models, that there might be different outcomes and scenarios, and you need to prepare for all the eventualities. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what Purim is about. After all, what are the chances of Esther, from this tiny people called the Jewish people across 127 countries of the empire, that specifically a Jewess and a girl called Esther, who happens to be connected to the great courageous leader of the Jewish people, Mordechai, that she will win the beauty pageant, she will become the princess, and only she somehow will be able to bring salvation to the Jewish people against impossible odds. What are the odds that on the night that Achashverosh can't sleep, that something is bothering him? What are the odds that specifically one history book of so many is chosen to placate him, and specifically comes across the story about Mordechai, who just by chance happened not to be rewarded for saving the king's life in a period before, that he happens to read this and think, what have we done to reward Mordechai? Where the transition between Mordechai's ascent and Haman's descent begins. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Jewish history. What are the odds that there is still a Jewish people today? What are the odds that there should be a state of Israel today? And what are the odds that today, in the 50th year of the reunification of Jerusalem and coming on to the 70 years of Israel, what are the odds that there would be such a thriving Jewish people and state of Israel with all of the challenges? That is what Purim is about. It is celebrating the unexpected and knowing that in a world that sometimes seems godless, which seems to always be only rational and only practical, there is also the miraculous. There is also a metaphysical. There are no chances in God's world. It is a world where we celebrate and often anticipate the unexpected. Shabbat Shalom, Purim Sameach.